Alright, so today I thought we'd do something slightly different. I know in a previous video in regards to Reverse we went over potential DLC characters and modes and bioweapons and stuff like that. But today I want to kind of focus on the characters themselves, because it kind of hit me last night when I was thinking about it. This is a game where you play as iconic characters from the series, right? And so far, we've only really seen mostly good guys, and that's not always going to be the case. Like, iconic characters are enemies and heroes. So today I have a list of what I have found online to what people want to see, or who people want to see, sorry, come into this game as a playable character. And then I have two of my own that I've kind of thought about myself and thought they would be super cool to see. I also kind of went the extra mile on some of the ideas I saw and kind of like made some abilities for these characters. If you didn't know, the characters in this game have two abilities that they come with, just to keep them unique. All the characters have unique abilities, and I've kind of just sat and thought about these characters that people want to see, and kind of like tried to make some abilities that would be cool and suit the character. So hopefully they sound appealing, but I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, without any further ado, let's jump into the first character. 5 characters that I've kind of like been seeing about online and what most people want to see, and then 2 I've kind of made up on the spot for myself. But yeah, let's get into it. So first up is Carlos. Carlos is in Resident Evil 3, obviously helps Jill a lot throughout the game. He is working for Umbrella, but he's not aware that they're like the reason behind what's going on. And you know, that's kind of like him realising what they did and stuff like that. He's a cool character, people love him, and he's probably one of the most kind of wanted in this game, I would say. Something to keep in mind before I go into like what I think these characters could do. I'm not going to be going over their weapons, purely because that could be anything. I believe as of from the beta, Jill and Chris have the same weapons, so the weapons could be anything, you know. So I'm not going to include weapons, I'm just going to talk about their abilities and what I think would suit the character and yeah, what would be cool to see. So first up for Carlos, his first ability, I've called this Umbrella Special Tactics. He is essentially working for Umbrella. He's not aware of the bad they do, but he is still under their like employment, you could say. So what I thought would be cool is for a brief 3 to 5 second period, maybe more. When you activate this ability, you are completely invisible to the bioweapon players in the game at the current time. Getting hit knocks you out of it, shooting knocks you out of it, but essentially you'll have like some kind of camouflage from bioweapons only for a brief period of time. Obviously, you know, that makes sense because Umbrella kind of manufactured the bioweapons, so them attacking you is a bit weird. So I thought that would be pretty cool to see, you know, just like a brief cloaking from bioweapon players, I should say. I think that'd be pretty cool. Obviously, it gives you an opportunity to reposition yourself, get some damage in, and obviously keep in mind that players who are still in their character form will still be able to see you. So it's very situational, and I believe it could actually kind of turn the tides on a bioweapon fight. And for your second ability is the quad rocket launcher. This is in Resident Evil 3 Remake briefly. When he first meets Jill, he saves her by shooting Nemesis with the 4-barreled rocket launcher. That could be super cool. Maybe not 4 rockets, maybe just the 1, but still a super powerful rocket hit. Very effective against bioweapons, especially. And obviously, you know, it's probably going to direct impact on a hero player. It's probably going to one-hit them. But you know, it's a one-shot thing. Reasonable cooldown because it's pretty powerful. And maybe it even like stuns bioweapons rather than kills them. You know, it hits them and they kind of go down on the knees like Nemesis does in the 3 remake. So that's Carlos. Pretty cool idea. People want to see him in this game a lot. I've seen a lot of people say, "Where's Carlos?" But you know, you never know. Maybe he'll come out. And I don't think the abilities I've said will be what he can do. But still, I just wanted to add a little creativity to the mix. Okay, next up we have Rebecca Chambers, a playable character from Resident Evil 0, and a returning character in a few games. She's in Resident Evil 0, she's in Resident Evil 1 as like the side character to Chris. So she's a known character, she's around. A little kind of background to help with her abilities. I'm going to say she's part of the STARS like medical team. Obviously, you can tell from her her gear, she has like the medic badge on her arm. So she's essentially gonna be like a healer type character in the game, which we'll get into now. Again, this is a free for all, so you have to be very specific with the heals. But at the end of the day, it might help you if you're playing as her specifically. So Rebecca's first ability is essentially just called First Aid. There isn't any First Aid present in this game by the look of it, so she could be the one that has one. What this is gonna do is instead of it being like an instant cast and then you immediately heal, she's going to like kind of plant a can on the floor and then it's going to kind of pop open and burst the healing aura around it. Standing in that can heal you up, and obviously that gives you some more mobility when fighting. If you're staying in the ring, you're constantly getting healed. Obviously, you know, if you're in like a 2v1, if you're like sandwiched between two players, you're probably going to die. But it might give you the advantage you need in a 1v1, so it just keeps her healed, keeps her alive. And I don't think there's any other character in the game, I could be wrong, I didn't really play everyone, but I don't think there's any other character in the game right now that has a heal, like a personal heal, apart from Claire, but it's very small. It's like a brief, ton of like, very small heal, but this could be like an overall, it could get you from danger to fine if you're in it long enough without dying or taking much damage, so that'd be super cool to see. And then her second one, which is more of a passive thing, could be Medic's Intuition. This is essentially kind of like in a brief area around you, you kind of send out a scan that kind of locates herbs near you. Obviously it's all free-for-all, so it's self-healing, but you know, you'll be able to get an idea of where the heals are through walls and stuff like that, so you know like a good route to go for combat. The herbs aren't massively far apart in this game, they're quite often, but you know, if your players running around picking them up, they're going to kind of despawn, so you'll be able to find out the closest ones to you as often as possible. Probably a reasonable cooldown for this. And the same with the other one as well, because you know, healing in this game could be quite strong, especially if you have a character that's built around it specifically. You can outlive everyone. But yeah, that's Rebecca's kind of idea. I thought it was pretty cool, you know, just kind of like go into her like a medic side. Because you don't really see that much in the games, apart from Resident Evil 1 and 0. You kind of do, but I want to put some really big emphasis. I don't know what I mean. Yeah, I want to put some like more attention to that, basically. Keeping with the theme of Resident Evil 0, we're going to go to Billy Cohen next. He is the quote-unquote prisoner character in Resident Evil 0. Yeah, it turns out he's like a soldier that got essentially blamed for whatever went on, and you know, he's not actually a bad guy in the end. But you know, I feel like we could really go into his like military side in this game, which is super cool. So yeah, he's going to be based around obviously weapon play and stuff like that. So let's get into him now, shall we? So his first ability is going to be military training. This is essentially going to give him more handling and reload speed for his weapons. This could be, you know, recoil, control, mainly, specifically, you know, controlling recoil on his weapons, and then reloading them, of course. Obviously, everyone's main weapons have unlimited ammo, so that would just be a reload speed and a recoil increase. But his extra weapon, obviously you need to find ammo for that, and then it'll probably be some kind of assault rifle or something along the sorts. So having the recoil control and the reload speed for that would be good. Big magazine. Has the reloads more damage off at once. So that's his first ability. And then Billy's second ability is going to be Crack Shot. If you remember at the end of the game, he uses a special magnum to take out the Leech Queen kind of boss fight at the end. It's going to be quite strong. It's going to essentially, what it's going to do is almost one-shot a player, so leave them basically at 1 HP. But bioweapons, if you manage to hit all 3, we'll go for 3, maybe 4, and just hit 2. If you manage to hit all 3 to 4 shots in the head on a weapon, it will take it down immediately and it will be out of the count. Very strong weapon, kind of a big cooldown for that one if you manage to keep alive, of course, but very, very useful against taking out very strong weapons, especially the high tier ones. And next up is Trevor from Resident Evil 5. She is Chris's partner throughout the game and is a Bsaa agent based in Africa. I really wanted to go into the Africa side of things in one of her abilities, and I really wanted to go into the Bsaa side on her other ability. So this one I'm quite proud of the result I kind of figured out with this one. I think it'll be super cool, and let's just get into it because Trevor is again, you know, a big character that people want to see in the game. I had a comment on the video long ago saying, "Do you really think they're going to put Trevor in the game? Well, that'd be awesome." I was like, hopefully, you know, people love a character. Some people don't like her, and they get that mainly because the AI wasn't so great, but the character itself is very, very cool. Okay, so first ability is Bsaa Agent. This is essentially what you, again, another scan ability, but you're going to be able to see where the bioweapon players currently are. Obviously, Bsaa are sent in to deal with the situations that include bioweapons. So, while better use of that than to see them where they are at all times. It's not going to last terribly long, probably like a 30-second thing, just to kind of know where they are. If you attack one while the sight is up, you'll do a small increased amount of damage, just to kind of like, you know, really drive home that Bsaa and the bioweapon kind of idea that she has. And her second ability is called Tribal Uprising. This is going to be based around one of the skins she has in Resident Evil 5, it's a tribal skin, and what that's going to do is basically let you use her bow. Very, very good weapon, very powerful. Skill shot weapon, of course, because it's, you know, one shot reload, so you have to have perfect aim. Headshots are very strong with it. and you get like 4 to 5 shots in it, or before the ability time runs out. I thought that having the bow in the game would be super cool. I know Ada's character in the game already has a crossbow, so having a weapon like that that's got very precision aim and stuff like that would be, super cool to see as well. So that's Trevor. I'm actually really impressed with how that one turned out. And last but not least, for the most anticipated from overall fans, is Albert Wesker. Again, like I said, this is not a game where every single character has to be a hero. You can add the villains in; they're iconic characters. It makes sense. But Wesker is going to have interesting abilities, that's for sure. And we all know who Wesker is. He's the big bad in most of the games. So I'm not going to explain who he is, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. So let's jump into it right now, shall we? So Wesker's first ability is T-Virus compatible. That's what I thought that would be called. Basically what this is going to do is, his red eyes from the Super Neo version of him when he started getting mad powers. It's that, not as intense. What it's going to do is give me a 25-ish, maybe 15 second. I'm not too sure how long it should last, but he's a strong character, so he has to be some kind of strong abilities. What it's going to do is let you see everyone and everything on the map briefly, and increase your base movement speed by about 50%. I don't want him sprinting over the map in about 2 seconds flat, but having him have that super speed that he has would be super cool. And then also his dodges recharge a lot faster than other characters while that ability is active. Obviously, if you play Resident Evil 5 and you try and shoot him, he dodges everything in the boss fights. So I thought I'd implement that into his character in this game too. And his second ability is called Thirst for Power. This is essentially a one-time use per life. Well, not maybe per a few lives actually, because it's not quite strong. What this is going to do is essentially you press it and you will get full stacks of capsules immediately, and you'll be able to transform into basically one of the super strong bioweapons in the game on death. Not every single time. It does need to be delayed. You can't just be dying on purpose and then turning into Nemesis and killing everyone immediately all the time. But every few lives or so, basically like a perk to help if you're not doing so great. And obviously, if you are doing good, you can kind of use it as and when you choose to. But obviously this will have its downsides. If it is a bioweapon that's spawned in from the ability, they will not have as much HP and will do slightly less damage, but you'll be able to get into the higher form bioweapons a lot more often than other characters in the game. So that is essentially the out of all of the lists and comments I've seen about the game so far, they're the characters that people want to see most. I do have 2 of my own ideas I've made up, which I think would be super cool to see in game. I'm actually surprised one of them didn't come up as often as he did, but without further ado, let's get into my own personal ideas, which I actually am quite proud of. So first up is Mia Winters. I was always thinking about Ethan being in the game, but it's a weird one. Obviously, Ethan doesn't really have a face in 7 and 8. You can see it outside, of clipping out cutscenes and stuff like that, but they never intended for it to be shown. So the animations on his face are quite not great. I mean, they could potentially add Ethan, and just kind of animate his face, but I don't think Ethan will be coming to the game. So instead we're going to go with Mia. Not a good guy, not a bad guy. She's obviously a bit shady. So I thought she'd be a good addition to the game. And her character is already kind of fleshed out. She has a face, a voice, and some kind of backstory at the minute at least. So let's jump into Mia's abilities. Alright, so Mia's first ability is going to be called Mutant Mercy Host. This is a very strong ability that can be used to a maximum of 2 times throughout the game. Maybe that's a little bit too little amount, but too much of a small amount. But for now, I feel like it is quite strong. This is essentially what it's going to do is, on the character's death, you will have all your characters turning into the bioweapon, you'll have a second to press it. What it'll do is the mold will take over the mutation, and then Mia will stand back up, and she'll be alive again, full HP and everything. This is obviously to do with the regen abilities the mutant Mossy has and the mold has, and Mia is Evelyn's handler, and she does get infected in Resident Evil 7, so I think it would suit her character really well. And there is potential in the future they add Evelyn to the game. That'd be terrifying, seeing a little girl run around killing everyone. But for now, I think Mia being able to use some kind of mutant Mossy ability would be pretty damn cool. And then Mia's second ability is called I Have to Fix This quote. And what this essentially means is, along she says throughout the game multiple times when she's infected, is she can go around the map, find capsules, and instead of picking them up to use them, it essentially just destroys them, gets rid of them completely. This was something I was going to go with for Ethan, but again, well, with Ethan being kind of a questionable addition to the game, I'm just going to do it with Mia. And this will essentially mean that, you know, on death, you'll turn into a really weak bioweapon that's not really useful, or, you know, you'll just die. And it'll be more gunplay focused match than a bioweapon focused match. You know, that advantage is gone. For me, personally, with additional characters that being added to the game, especially if there ends up being, you know, 10 plus characters at least, I feel like you should only have one in a match of each character, just to kind of balance out the perks and the abilities. Because we all know that there's going to be a character in the game at launch that's just way more powerful than the rest. So I do feel like, you know, additional characters being added to the future, maybe lock it out so that only one of each can be in the game at once, which is something they could do, but we'll see. And last but not least, the final enemy I want to see in the game, this is an enemy, by the way, it's Jack Krauser from Resident Evil 4. This is super cool. This is again another soldier type character, and he does have like some kind of mutation. He is infected in Resident Evil 4, and he has like the mutated arm. I do want that to come into play with one of his abilities, so we're going to get into that now. So his first ability is essentially called Flashbang. Obviously, if you've done the Krauser fight in Resident Evil 4, what you beat him, he throws flashbangs throughout the arena to disappear when you do enough damage to him. This again can be used to, you know, blind enemies in game, and then briefly, if you do manage to hit the flash on someone and they are blind, you'll get a temporary movement increase, just until the flash wears off. So it's only going to be a few seconds, but it gives you an opportunity to get away, potentially heal, and then come back fighting again. Krauser's second ability is going to be the arm. I don't actually know what to call it. I've been trying to rack my brain about what to call it the entire time. I was going along the lines of. I honestly have no idea. It just sounds dumb to me when I'm trying to think of anything I can call it. But essentially what it's going to do is, it's a melee ability where the arm's going to come out and you're going to be able to swing and stab someone. It's going to be an animation, so you're going to be stuck in it, but you're going to stab them and throw them to the ground to get a few shots in afterwards. And, you know, I thought adding that arm as an ability you can use is super cool. I was considering it being like an active ability where you press it and the arm's there, you can use it as like the shield that he has in the game, just to block some bullets. And then obviously the swing as well. That could be something they do. But I kind of don't want one ability to have two different like uses, so I decided just to go with the swing, do the damage and the stun as well. So yeah, that's my idea for two extra characters that aren't really included on the list. That's Mia and Jack Krauser. But yeah, that's the list. That's the 7 characters I wanted to go over. Obviously the 5 most wanted characters in the game, and then 2 extras for me personally that I'd like to see. Going back on the topic of briefly of Ethan, I would really like to see Ethan in the game. He's personally one of my favourite characters after the events of Village, and some people would agree with me there that he's kind of gone from a character that's just kind of nobody to kind of one of the best characters in the series, and a lot of people would agree with that, because I've seen plenty of people say how good they think Ethan is. So I would like to see him, but who knows? Who knows what they'll do. But yeah, that's going to be the list. Let me know if you agree with anything I have said. Let me know if you think I've made characters way too strong. Let me know if you think my character's way too weak, or let me know if there's any other characters you want to see come to the game that you have your own ideas for. Again, thank you for watching, thank you for the supply of the gameplay. Obviously I've been using the same gameplay for a few videos now, but there's just not a lot around. So thank you to a friend of mine for sending me the Claire gameplay, and then thank you for one of you sending me the Chris gameplay. If anyone else has any other gameplay of any other characters from the beta that you wouldn't mind me using in a video, then by all means, you know, drop a comment, or, you know, follow the link in the description to my Twitter and just message me there. Obviously, you know, if I do use your gameplay, I'll obviously shout you out like how I've done with the other guy. And yeah, obviously anyone that isn't Chris or Claire would be ideal. So if anyone does have that, thank you very much, and I'll appreciate the hell out of you. But for now, I'm going to leave you with the video. Thank you for watching. At the time this video has gone up, there would have just been a live stream that just ended. So anyone who came out to that, thank you very, very much for stopping by. And I'll see you again soon for another video.